Ethan Hale had been traveling through space for so long that most stations felt the same to him. Metal walls, artificial lights, strange smells, and tired faces from 100 different species. He moved slowly through Carth 9 Transit Hub, a place where travelers stopped only when they had no better choice. It was not famous for kindness. It was famous for survival. Ethan was human, tall, broad-shouldered, with tired eyes that had seen too many worlds rise and fall. He wore a simple traveler's coat and carried a small pack on his back. He was not a soldier anymore, not a hero, just a man moving forward one station at a time. The waiting hall was crowded. Creatures of many shapes sat, stood, or leaned against walls. Some argued loudly. Some watched others with hungry eyes. Children were rare here. Families were rarer. Ethan chose a quiet bench near a broken light panel. He sat down, rested his hands on his knees, and closed his eyes for a moment. His ship would not depart for another hour. That was when he felt it. A small weight pressed gently against his side. He opened his eyes. At first he thought it was a bag. Then he saw thin fingers clutching the edge of his coat. He looked down and froze. A small alien girl stood beside him, swaying on her feet. She was no taller than his chest when standing, and now she barely reached his waist. Her skin was a pale silver blue, dull with dirt. Large eyes, too large for her thin face, blinked slowly as if she was fighting sleep. Her clothes were torn and far too thin for the cold air of the station. Before Ethan could speak, her knees buckled. She collapsed sideways, landing gently against him, and then, without fear, without words, she slid onto his lap and fell asleep. Her breathing became slow and steady within seconds. The noise of the station seemed to fade. Ethan did not move. His first instinct was danger, not from her but from everyone else. This station did not allow weakness, and this child was the weakest thing in the room. He slowly lifted one hand and held it still in the air, unsure where to place it. He did not want to wake her. Her head rested against his chest. She was warm, too warm as if she had been running a fever. He swallowed and carefully wrapped his coat slightly tighter around her small body. People were staring. A tall, insect-like trader paused mid-step. Two armored security drones turned their sensors toward Ethan. A group of reptilian dock workers whispered among themselves. Everyone recognized her species. Whispers spread fast. "That's Illyrian. I thought they were all gone. Dangerous minds, stay away." Ethan heard it all. He ignored it. The girl shifted slightly, her fingers tightening on his coat as if afraid he might disappear. Ethan felt something strange then. Not fear, not anger. A deep, quiet sadness. He had seen this before, on war-torn planets, on refugee ships. Children who had learned that sleep was safer than being awake. A soft chime echoed through the station. The lights flickered once, then twice. Some screens went dark. A power fluctuation. People groaned. Someone cursed loudly. The girl did not wake. Ethan adjusted his position to make sure she was comfortable. His arms ached, but he did not care. Minutes passed. Then something else happened. A low hum vibrated through the floor. Not loud, but deep like the echo of a distant bell. The air felt heavier, warmer. Several beings looked around nervously. "What is that?" someone asked. The light steadied, then grew brighter than before. Ethan felt it now too. A strange pressure like standing near the ocean before a storm. The girl's breathing changed. With every breath, faint lines of light shimmered across her skin, so soft they were almost invisible. Ethan's heart began to race. He had traveled enough to know when something was not normal. The security drones moved closer. One of them stopped directly in front of Ethan. Its voice was cold and flat. "Human traveler, identify the juvenile entity." "I don't know her," Ethan said calmly. "The entity belongs to a restricted species," the drone replied. "Transfer custody immediately." Ethan did not raise his voice. He did not stand. "She's sleeping," he said. "I'm not waking her." A murmur ran through the crowd. The drone's sensors brightened. "Noncompliance will result in force." Ethan finally looked up, meeting the machine's glowing lens. "If you use force," he said quietly, "you'll hurt her, and if that happens, every being in this room will see who you really are." The drone paused. That hesitation saved everything, because at that moment the station shook, not violently but enough to make people stumble. Screens flashed with warning symbols, doors sealed shut along the hall. A sharp alarm rang out and then cut off suddenly, as if silenced by an unseen hand. The hum grew louder. The girl stirred. Her eyes fluttered open. They were not just large, they were glowing. Soft light spilled from them, filling the space around Ethan and the bench. People stepped back in fear, some fell to their knees. The girl looked up at Ethan, confusion clear on her small face. She spoke in a voice so quiet that only he could hear it. "You stayed," Ethan's breath caught. "Yes," he said, "I stayed." Her small hand pressed flat against his chest. The hum stopped. The lights returned to normal. Systems rebooted across the station. The security drone pulled back abruptly, its sensors dim. The girl blinked again, then yawned softly. Her glow faded, leaving her looking small and fragile once more. She looked around, fear slowly creeping into her expression. Ethan gently placed a hand on her back. "It's okay," he said. "You're safe." No one moved, no one spoke. Finally, a station official pushed through the crowd. He was older, his skin marked with the colors of a high-ranking administrator. "That child," the official said carefully, "is not safe here." Ethan stood up slowly, keeping the girl cradled against him. She wrapped her arms around his neck without hesitation. "She wasn't safe before she found me either," Ethan replied. The official studied him for a long moment. "You don't understand what she is." Ethan met his gaze. "I understand what she needs." Silence followed. Somewhere deep within the station, ancient systems that had been dormant for centuries recorded a signal. A signature thought lost forever. Illyrian had awakened, and she had chosen a human as her protector. Ethan did not know it yet, but from this moment on, his journey was no longer his alone. And the galaxy would never forget what happened next. The crowd did not move for a long time after Ethan carried the girl away from the bench. Fear held them still. Curiosity kept their eyes fixed on his back. No one tried to stop him. Even the security drones stayed at a distance, their sensors dimmed, as if they were unsure whether they were allowed to exist near her. Ethan walked with slow, careful steps through the corridor leading away from the waiting hall. The girl's arms stayed wrapped around his neck. Her head rested on his shoulder. She was awake now, but quiet, watching the world with wide, uncertain eyes. "Where are we going?" she asked softly. Her voice was gentle like wind moving through leaves. "Somewhere quieter," Ethan replied. "Somewhere safe." She nodded as if she trusted him completely. That trust scared him more than any weapon ever had. Behind them, station officials argued in sharp whispers. Messages were being sent. Signals were being recorded. Word was spreading faster than Ethan could walk. A Lyrian child was alive, and she had awakened. Ethan entered a narrow maintenance corridor and sealed the door behind him. The noise of the station faded. He leaned against the wall for a moment, breathing out slowly. Only then did he look down at the girl again. Up close, she looked even smaller. Her clothes were little more than torn fabric. Thin marks covered her arms, old scars that spoke of hunger and fear. Ethan felt anger rise in his chest, hot and heavy. "What's your name?" he asked gently. She hesitated. "My name was Ira," she said. "Before." "Before what?" Ethan asked. "Before I was alone." He nodded slowly. "I'm Ethan." She tried the name, shaping it carefully. "Ethan." He smiled without thinking. They stayed there for several minutes. Ethan checked the corridor's sensors. No movement, no alarms. For now, they were hidden. Then the girl's hand tightened on his sleeve. "They are coming," she whispered. Ethan stiffened. "Who?" "Many minds," she said. "Sharp, loud, hungry." As if summoned by her words, the corridor lights flickered. A deep vibration ran through the wall. Distant footsteps echoed, heavy and fast. Ethan made a decision. He adjusted his grip on Ira and moved deeper into the maintenance network. He followed signs marked in old human trade language, paths meant for technicians, not travelers. His memory guided him. He had repaired ships on worse stations than this. Behind sealed doors, voices rose in panic. "She's destabilizing the grid." "No, the grid is responding to her." "Contain the human too." Ethan ignored them all. They reached a small service room filled with old equipment and power conduits. Ethan sealed the door and activated a manual lock. It would not hold forever, but it might buy time. Ira suddenly gasped. She clutched her head, her fingers digging into her hair. Faint light began to glow beneath her skin again, brighter than before. "It hurts," she whispered. "Too many thoughts." Ethan knelt immediately. "Hey, look at me." She tried, but her eyes unfocused. He placed his hands gently on her shoulders. "Listen to my voice," he said slowly. "You're here, you're safe, just breathe." The glow pulsed wildly, then slowly it steadied. The light dimmed to a soft shimmer. Ira looked at him again, tears forming in her eyes. "I don't want to hurt anyone," she said. "I know," Ethan replied without hesitation. A loud metallic air shook the door. "Open immediately," a voice shouted from outside. Ethan stood, positioning himself between the door and Ira. "I won't let them take you," he said quietly. Ira looked up at him, fear mixing with something else. "Wonder. No one ever stayed before," she said, another Udea air. The door dented inward. Ethan's mind raced. He had no weapons, no ship nearby, only time and very little of it. Then the floor beneath them vibrated. Not from outside, from below, a low, ancient hum filled the room deeper than before. The power conduits along the walls began to glow, symbols appearing on their surfaces, symbols Ethan did not recognize. Ira gasped softly. "I remember," she whispered. The door burst open. Armed security rushed in, drones, soldiers, officials. They froze the moment they crossed the threshold. The glow filled the room now, warm and steady. Ira stepped forward, standing beside Ethan. She was no longer shaking. "You were never meant to cage us," she said, her voice calm but powerful. "You forgot what we were." The symbols flared brighter. Every weapon in the room shut down at once. Drones powered off midair and fell harmlessly to the floor. Silence followed. One of the officials fell to his knees. "You're supposed to be extinct," he whispered. Ira looked at him sadly. "We were betrayed." Images filled the air, memories projected from her mind. Worlds burning, Lyrian guardians standing between civilians and fleets. Refusing orders to destroy, being hunted for their mercy, Ethan watched, stunned. "They called us dangerous because we would not obey," Ira continued. "So they erased us, or tried to." The memories faded. The glow softened. Ira turned to Ethan. "I woke because you did not fear me." The officials looked at Ethan now, truly seeing him for the first time. "You've triggered something ancient," one of them said. "Stations across this sector are reporting anomalies, old systems, defense grids." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then maybe it's time you remembered who built them." The official swallowed. A warning siren began to wail throughout the station. External fleets were arriving, not friendly ones. Ira sensed it instantly. "They are coming for me," she said. "They always do." Ethan knelt again, meeting her eyes. "Then we leave," he said simply. "How?" someone demanded. Ethan stood and faced the room. "Because humans are very good at getting out when we're not welcome." He turned and began moving again, Ira close at his side now, walking on her own feet. Doors opened ahead of them without being touched. Paths lit up. The station itself seemed to guide them. Behind them, no one followed. They reached a forgotten hangar, sealed and dark. Ethan activated the lights. In the center sat an old ship, human-made, scarred, patched, but intact, his ship. Ira looked at it in awe. "This place, it listens to me," she said softly. Ethan smiled grimly. "Good, then ask it to help us." She placed her hand against the hangar wall. "Please," she whispered. The hangar doors opened. Stars filled the space beyond. Alarms screamed across the station, but it was too late. Ethan and Ira boarded the ship. Systems powered on without input. Engines hummed to life. As the ship lifted off, ancient signals spread across the galaxy. Not of war, but of return. And far away, those who had hunted the Lyrians felt something they had not felt in a very long time. Fear, stars stretched into long white lines as Ethan's ship jumped into faster-than-light travel. The hum of the engines was steady, familiar, almost comforting. Ethan sat in the pilot's seat, hands light on the controls, eyes fixed forward. His heart was still racing, but his mind was clear. Behind him, Ira sat curled in a small seat, wrapped in a spare blanket. She watched the glowing stars with quiet wonder. This was her first time leaving a station freely. No guards, no chains, no fear pushing her forward. "Are they following us?" she asked softly. Ethan checked the sensors. "Not yet," he said, "but they will try." Ira nodded. She seemed calmer now, but a shadow still lived in her eyes, memories she could not forget. The ship exited faster than light near an unmarked system. A small blue star burned quietly in the distance. No stations, no traffic, just empty space and drifting dust. Ethan guided the ship toward a lonely planet, rocky, quiet, with wide oceans and thick clouds. "I've been here before," he said. "No one cares about this place." "That sounds safe," Ira replied. They descended through the clouds and landed near a wide plain. Wind moved gently across tall grass. The sky was pale purple, peaceful. Ethan powered down the ship. For the first time since they met, silence surrounded them. They stepped outside. Ira took a careful breath. Her shoulders relaxed. The faint glow under her skin softened like a resting light instead of a warning flame. "This world is quiet," she said. "It does not shout." Ethan smiled slightly. "I like quiet worlds." They made a small shelter near the ship. Nothing fancy, just enough. Ethan shared food and water. Ira ate slowly, as if afraid it might disappear. Hours passed, then Ira stiffened. "They found us," she whispered. Ethan looked up at the sky. Ships appeared, dark shapes against the clouds. Not many, just enough. Hunters. Ethan stood between Ira and the sky. "You don't have to run anymore," he said. Ira looked at him. "They will never stop." "Then we teach them," Ethan replied, "why humans are a bad choice to threaten." The ground trembled. Symbols lit up across the planet's surface, ancient, vast, awakening. The same hum filled the air, stronger now. The planet itself responded to Ira's presence. The hunters hesitated, too late. Ira stepped forward. She did not raise her hands. She did not shout. She reached out. Not with power, with memory. Across space, ancient Lyrian systems woke up. Not weapons, but shields, barriers, networks designed to protect life. Fleets lost targeting. Engines shut down peacefully. Ships drifted, trapped but unharmed. Panic spread among the attackers. "This is impossible. They were extinct." Ethan watched in awe. Ira turned to him, fear in her eyes. "I don't want to destroy them." "You're not," Ethan said. "You're stopping them." The last hunter ship powered down completely and floated harmlessly in the sky. Silence returned. Days passed, then weeks. Messages arrived from across the galaxy, not threats, questions. Human diplomats arrived cautiously. Scientists, leaders, they kept their distance. They spoke to Ethan first. "You're protecting a galactic-level entity," one official said. "That changes everything." Ethan crossed his arms. "She's a child." That answer spread faster than any signal. When Ira finally spoke to the galaxy, she did not speak of revenge. She spoke of choice. "We were guardians," she said. "We chose mercy. That choice cost us everything, but one human showed me that mercy still exists." The galaxy listened. Some worlds offered peace. Some stayed silent. None dared attack. Ethan was offered rewards, titles, power. He refused all of it. He stayed on the quiet planet with Ira. He taught her simple things, how to cook, how to laugh, how to be a child again. And she taught him things too, how to listen, how to feel the universe without fear. Years later, travelers spoke of a human and an alien girl on a forgotten world, of ancient systems that guarded life, of a species reborn not through war, but through kindness. And whenever the story was told, one truth always remained clear. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, not because humans were the strongest, but because when it mattered most, they chose to care.